Well, hey there. Welcome to the Kim Constable podcast. Nobody cares. Work harder. Who or what or whatever are we going to talk about this week? Well, I have a very special guest for you this week. We've been doing a lot of interviews recently, but I really have been enjoying doing the interviews rather than just listening to me waffling on for 60 minutes in your ear. But this week I am interviewing my personal practitioner, cosmetic practitioner, the lovely Lisa Waring, who is the co-owner with her wife Jerry of Face Therapy NI. Now, many of you who follow me on Instagram will see me tagging face therapy many times. And once you listen to this interview with Lisa, you're going to understand why. Because Lisa truly is a soul sister. I mean, she is, the minute I met her, I was just blown away by her. I was like, this woman, you know, whenever you just meet someone and you just gravitate towards them. And the minute I met her, I loved her. She not only is one of the most skilled people I've ever met in my entire life, her attention to detail is second to none. But apart from how beautiful she is, and she is beautiful, and how skilled she is, and how wonderful she is, and how lovely she is, and how intelligent she is also genuinely one of the nicest people I've ever met. I have never heard her say a bad word about anybody. Her wife Jerry and her and their beautiful little daughter Abney, honestly, she and Jerry are just truly, they are couples goals. They really are couples goals. They're just wonderful people. And I can't wait to share this interview with you because I truly love Lisa so much. But apart from anything else, Lisa has completely transformed my face. I was going to say my body, but not really my body. Actually, the only thing that Lisa's ever done is put some cosmetic threads, or what are they called? Mono threads, in a crease underneath my left butt cheek, which I didn't really like very much, to stimulate collagen in the area and to improve the appearance of the skin. And the reason why I wanted to have Lisa on today is because every time I post about my cosmetic procedures on Instagram, I get people who say, Kim, love your transparency, love how honest you are, blah, blah, blah. But then you get people who are like, that's it. You're a sellout. I'm never buying another program from you ever again because I will never be able to afford this and you're just selling us out. And I'm like, oh God, calm down, love. Seriously, calm down. For fuck's sake. I'm like, that is exactly what it looks like. An excuse. Now you're going, oh, well, that's it. She got threads put in her butt 5 years after I started training. 6 weeks ago, I got one set of threads put in my butt. And I have people coming on Instagram accusing me of being a sellout. And that's just a convenient excuse that they will now use to justify why they will never actually show up and into the gym and achieve their goals. But anyway, that's just a little side rant. But that's why I decided to do this interview with Lisa today, because I wanted to chat to Lisa about, what are the biggest myths around cosmetic procedures? Because Lisa doesn't do cosmetic surgery. She doesn't do like facelifts or surgery stuff, but she does all types of Botox and fillers and dermal fillers. And she has like Venus Legacy and Profilo and all of these different treatments. And she is truly exceptionally skilled and has worked as a nurse in the cardiac intensive care unit. She's worked with brain injuries. Like, she trained as a nurse in our most prestigious university here in Northern Ireland, which is Queen's University in Belfast, before going on to work in some of the biggest hospitals and care units here, before then becoming a cosmetic practitioner. So I know I've really sold you to her here, but you truly just have to understand what a beautiful soul this woman is. And I wanted to have her on here because many people ask me about my cosmetic procedures and what should I start with? And I'm so scared to get stuff done and I wouldn't even know where to begin. And what do you do? And so Lisa and I chatted about it all today. We chatted about the myths, about, her biggest things that, piss her off, about, what people expect. We talk about, what people should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing, about, really crazy shit that she's seen about, girl putting 2.5 mils of filler in her lips, which is not a good idea, and everything in between. So I'm going to go to the interview now and stop telling you how amazing Lisa is so you can actually listen to how amazing she is herself. And don't forget, by the way, we're now in the middle of February 2021. If you want to leave a review on this podcast, and in fact, you can leave a review, even if you're not listening to this in February, you can leave a review anytime at all on the podcast and send me a screenshot of the review on Instagram. Little tip, if you take a screenshot of the review before you post it, then that will make sure it does not disappear into the abyss. Send it to me on Instagram at thesculptedvegan. You could be entered into a draw to win one of our Sculpted Vegan programs. We do a draw every single month for a Sculpted Vegan program. And if you ain't in it, you can't win it. So I'm going to go to the interview with Lisa now, and I will chat to you guys again at the end. Lisa Waring, oh my God, we finally got here and made it to a podcast after so much toing and froing. Thank you so much for agreeing to the interview.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Do you know, I was just thinking, you were my first live and now you are my first podcast.
Oh, Lisa, I love being your first. I love being your first.
No.
Don't tell Jerry, don't tell your wife. we have a wee secret love affair, but actually have a wee secret love affair with Jerry on the side too. So I'm kind of double dating both of you at the same time.
Lisa, I don't mind. My ass isn't as good as yours. So
well, only because thanks to you, which we are going to get into and talk about actually later in the podcast. But this is actually part of the reason I know this is part of the reason why I wanted to have you on today was because, you know, as you know, and a lot of my listeners will know, and they'll be really excited to hear from you today because, of course, I'm always so open about all my cosmetic procedures that I get and, you know, and all of the extra help that I get. And I've never, ever been, well, actually, that's not true. I went to one girl before you and then she moved away to London, which is then why I found you. I know I cheated on you in the beginning. I actually cheated on her. But I have had... I've had the most work done with you, and my listeners are always really interested in the work that I get done because they're always so scared. And I was really scared in the beginning too. And I thought, like, what a better way to, you know, really bring it out into the open and to have a chat about it. And for you and I to, you know, me to ask you the questions that I get asked all the time, so I can hear about, you know, hear about it from your point of view, or my listeners can hear about it from your point of view. So I'm dying to, I have so many good questions to ask you here, but before I get started, here is what I really want to know. So I know your background, but tell me, or tell all my listeners, what your background is. So you didn't start out as a cosmetic esthetician or whatever the word is that you would, facial esthetician or whatever you would call yourself. You actually started out as a nurse. Is that right?
Yes. God, many moons ago. I started out as a nurse. I'd done my nurse training in 2002 in Queens. Went straight from school. So what are you, 18, 19, whenever you finish your A-levels, straight into Queens. Never really had like the mad student life that, you know, most students would have. I suppose I don't really think any student nurses or student doctors do have that kind of crazy student life. To be fair, it's a bit crap for us all. But I finished in 2005 and I was offered a full-time post in neuro rehab. And that's actually where I met my wife, Jerry. So we worked together caring for patients that had suffered from traumatic brain injury. So like the road traffic accidents, and they were from any age, from the age of 14 up to in their 80s, you know, patients who have suffered from strokes and things like that. So I mean, I loved it, absolutely loved it. So hard work, but really rewarding at the same time. And Jerry and I remember actually, whenever we were put on the night shift, we would always get put on the same shift together, a night shift, which was great. But during the night shift, there's not really much rehab happening for patients. So the nighttime shift was really mainly focused on ensuring the patients could look and feel like awesome for the next day, for the day staff coming in and for their relatives coming in. And I always remember Jerry and I would usually fight over, you know, who was getting to shave the patient or who was getting to pick out what they were wearing. And usually, you know, it would be the patient who would actually fucking win and say, well, I want to shave myself. You're like, all right, okay. You know, I suppose we have to. It's rehab. But I don't know. I always thought, because people would usually ask me, oh, when did you fall in love with aesthetics? And I think, to be honest, I think you actually were the first person to ask me that, and it was our live. And I thought that's actually probably where I did, you know, because I think, I mean, aesthetics is actually having to appreciate beauty in all forms, and, you know, making people feel good. And I think that's probably where it stemmed from then. But I suppose, I mean, I nursed in there only for a few years, and then I wanted to enhance my career. So I left, and maybe I wanted to leave working with Jerry for a while. Maybe, I suppose, I don't really know. I haven't really thought about that. But I went to cardiac surgical ICU. Only lasted about a year. God, it was so intense, and there was no windows in the building at all. And night shift, you were given 15-minute break. You had to sit on a heart, so it's just all. God, put my hand up to nurses. I could not do it again. But sorry, I'm going off on a tangent.
No, it's
cardiac
good.
surgical
That's good.
intensive care. Yeah. Yes. stayed there about a year, and then I found myself going back to neuro again, going back to Jerry. And during that time, I applied for University of Ulster. Went and completed a postgraduate diploma in specialist community public health nursing, and it was great because I am from a very working class background, and I was able to secure a job in my own district, working with young mums who perhaps I would have went to school with, and was able to give them support in terms of, becoming. I mean, young mums, it's hard growing up, and especially in a working class area as well. So I loved it, but kept finding that I still wanted more. Mm-hmm. And so during that time, I self-funded. I did apply to the trust, but they knocked me back for funding. So I self-funded a PGCE for nurse teachers. And I then qualified as a nurse lecturer, and I did a few shifts in Queen's teaching pre and post-reg student nurses. But my love of aesthetics never went away. It was always there. And it wasn't until Jerry and I had our daughter, and during my maternity leave, that I was able to go and pursue my dream. And I did a foundation course in botulinum toxin and fillers, and started working from my little utility room, where it now is, well, my washing machine was still there. Actually, my washing machine tumbled down. And then as I got busier and improved my skills and built my client base, I was able to actually move into the garage in the house, and then traveled around the country doing mobile clinics. And once we were able to get busier and built up a good client base, we bought our first clinic a few years ago, and you remember you were there for opening night.
Listen, I remember going to your utility room as well, and doing, and getting some work there. Drift, or maybe it was the garage actually at that point.
The garage,
maybe
it was a bit more experienced. A bit more, utility room. Yeah.
But you know what I love about your story, and this is what I always say to people. And listen, and I'm not taking anything away from anyone who trains hard and who qualifies as a or who works themselves up through the ranks, to do what it is that you do. But what I absolutely love about you was, well, two things. Your background in nursing, you had an extensive background. Like you said, like my mum was in the cardiac unit in the ICU after she had her heart surgery. She had open heart surgery, and I was in the ICU whenever she was brought round after her operation. And I remember it. It's intense, and there's constantly a nurse at the end of your bed, constantly checking your vitals. You're under constant observation. As you said, there's no windows. There's nothing. But not only that, you do a lot of things as well. Whenever you're injecting, it's like we scratch. And I've noticed that whenever Maya was in getting her appendix out, that is what all the nurses and all the anaesthetists would say. They would say, we scratch. And I was like, oh my God, that's what Lisa always says. So you have a lot of experience with needles. You have a lot of experience with, like, you would be my kind of go-to person who I would message, and I would go, Lisa, my friend had an injection. She's got swelling in her arm. What do you think it is? And you're like, oh, could be this, and could be this, and could be this, and could be this. You're like, you're kind of like my go-to person. So your knowledge of the human body, your knowledge of working with needles, of working with skin, of working with patients is extensive. Like you went into cosmetic, I want to say cosmetic surgery. What would you call it, Lisa? Cosmetic procedures, or what would you call yourself?
Yeah. An advanced aesthetics nurse, I suppose, but an aesthetics practitioner, as long as they're qualified. I think it has to be a doctor, dentist, nurse, midwife, someone who has done a medical background, who is aware of the anatomy and the dangers of what can go wrong.
Yeah. And that's what I have to say, what I love about you. And I'll never forget, actually, the first time I ever came to, and I think this is why I knew that you were good, right? Because I'm going to sing your praises now for a minute before I ask the next question. But I always talk about Lisa, and I always say, and we are going to talk about it. Many women will say to me, oh my God, I'm so scared to, I really want to get procedure. I really want to get stuff done, but I'm really scared to get it done. Like, how did you know? How did you make the decision? And I said, I'll never forget it. I went in to get a vitamin drip, and I was, or a vitamin drip, as the Americans call it. Most of our listeners are American. And so I was in your room, and you had said to me, oh, have you ever had any work done? I said, yeah, I've had some Botox done. I was like, oh, I've heard about getting fillers, but like, I'm really scared too. And you were like, oh, no, you would really suit some fillers. And I was like, I would. I was like, I have this thing here, and my cheekbones are all sunken, and I have these lines, and I don't know how to get rid of them. And you just started going, well, let me tell you. And you started like just lifting my cheeks and going a wee bit here and a wee bit here. If you wanted to get rid of those, we could do this. And that would make you feel better. And the way you touched my face and moved my skin and talked about whatever, I was like, holy shit, this girl knows what she's talking about. Because if somebody came to me at the time about yoga or bodybuilding or said, I want this, I'd be able to say, well, see this here and see this here. And if you did this and if you did this, I would feel totally confident to do that because of the experience that I have and my confidence in order to change, to help someone affect change in their body. And that's what gave me so much confidence. I was like, anyone who can touch my face, move it, say this, map it out in terms of what would help me achieve what it was, the look that I wanted in under 5 minutes, knows exactly what they're talking about. So, and many women say to me, and so this is what I suppose my next question is, many women say to me, I'd love to get work done, but I'm too scared. And so what would you say to women who have these concerns? Because it was a concern of mine. It is a concern, I guess, of many women. So if someone comes to you and they're like, oh, I'd love to get a wee bit of work done, love to look a wee bit better. What's your advice to those women?
Oh God, I get it. I completely get it. I mean, to be honest, that was you as well. Even after your first experience, you're like, shit, Lisa, my cheeks, look at me, I'm like fucking crawling the film.
Do you
remember?
Like,
oh my God, it's gonna calm down, relax. But no, God, I do remember. And I thought my career is over. She has 1 million followers and they're all gonna be like, look what this stupid fuck's done to my cheek. And then I went, no, just relax. I know it's fine. Put on my nurse's hat. And but no, to get back to the question, sorry, no, I completely get it. And I do think though that media hasn't made my work easy. I think seeing a lot of people getting slated for having aesthetic work and cosmetic work, and due to the negative images that you see of people on TV. I mean, I don't know if you've seen I don't know if we're allowed to say, I suppose, the images of Demi Moore recently. I mean, I don't know if you've seen that. Yeah. I mean, I heard a lot of rumours and read speculation that there was maybe buccal fat removal and then it was reinserted. And, I don't know. And then it was very extreme.
And then you've got J-Lo who only uses olive oil.
I know. It's probably Tesco's finest, so it must be a really good brand.
Yeah, extra virgin.
But I do see like these images of celebrities, of people who have had facelifts and to get the real windswept look, and the surgeon hasn't really replaced volume and to give it that natural youthful look. So I think that's probably people that can make people afraid, but you need to first dispel the myth. Having aesthetic treatments doesn't mean that you're going to change you're just going to really enhance what you have. So we just enhanced the cheekbone. You had a really good contoured face already, and you had a really good lip, but we're just enhancing your lip, So I mean, my best piece of advice would be just to make sure, as we already said, touched on the last question, make sure you pick an experienced, qualified medical practitioner, someone who knows facial aging, someone who knows anatomy, someone who's going to assess your face as an individual, and will plan that journey and not just say, one size fits all. Here's a package of, you can get the Kylie package, let's stick in 2 mils of cheeks and 1 mil of chin filler or jaw filler, and that's you. I think that's really important.
And I literally, Lisa, turn up to you now whenever I come. Of course, not at the minute during lockdown, but whenever the salon is allowed to open, I literally turn up. Lisa goes, okay, right, what are we doing tonight? What are you doing? I just book in, and Lisa goes, what are we doing tonight? What are we doing tonight? But she's always so busy. What are we doing tonight? And I go, I don't know, just whatever. Well, what do you mean, whatever? And I'm like, well, just whatever you think I need. She goes, right, okay. What about a wee bit of chin filler, wee bit of here, wee bit of this, wee bit of this? And she's, and I want to change the shape of your chin. Is that okay? You don't need lips. Lips are gorgeous. No lips. Wee bit of Botox. And I'm like, okay, go for it. Whatever you think. And that is how you know. That is how you choose your facial esthetician. You choose them by the person who's going to look at your face, like you said, as an individual and say, here's what I would advise. Here's what I would advise. You said to me once, whenever you were younger, you probably had really fat cheeks. And the reason why you have this line now, I'll never forget it, is because I was like, I had really fat cheeks. And you said the reason why I have this line is because as you've gotten older, you've lost elasticity, you've lost body fat, that it's sunken in. We can fill that out and that can make you look younger. I was sold instantly. I was like, yes, this is what I want. I want someone to tell me what to do. And so do you think that that's what it is? Do you think just many people, women are going to estheticians who aren't experienced enough to be able to advise them?
Yeah, I think probably the myth that when they see the likes of people who have had a bad job, they haven't been to an experienced practitioner. So that's probably what it is. But then you also get the women who, I do have clients from certain parts of the country who will come to me and say, oh, please don't bruise me, because my husband doesn't know, or I don't really want anybody to know that I've had this treatment, or
I would never say that, Lisa.
No,
I would never.
But, I just wanted to share
first time, guys. I did. That was me. I was like, don't tell Ryan. Can't tell Ryan we're having cheeks done. Ryan didn't give a shit.
No, see, but I just want to shout at people and shake them sometimes and say, like, getting aesthetics treatments, it's not a moral failing. Basically, I truly in my heart believe that, the desire to look attractive and not look fucking shitty or exhausted and angry, it's natural and good. And I mean, if I could prevent myself from frowning, on my own power, then I would 100% be able to do it and save myself a fortune without having to fill myself with a Botox. But I don't know. I was reading a lot whenever I was thinking about these clients who are, they're always worried about what people are going to think. And I was reading during lockdown, just found that, the faces we make carry like an emotional weight, and I'm sure you've probably heard, smiling can make you feel happier. Mm-hmm. And it turns out that, like, not frowning has the same effect. So, yeah, because I was reading for like a piece that I'm writing. It was about, I think it was the journal of Cosmetic Dermatology. I think it was a few years ago, but 10 years ago, found that when people had Botox to prevent frowning, they had reduced negative mood. So those people who are worried or afraid shouldn't be, because research has showed that it's good for you. So,
it's actually called a reverse causality. That's what they
really?
call it,
a
reverse causality. So, a causality is where a stimulus comes in from the external world, something makes me feel upset, and then I frown. Or I'm, confused and I frown. So whatever it is, so something happens which causes an emotion, which then triggers me to frown. And so what they realized was, because I read studies about years ago as well, I don't know why, because I'm kind of weird that way. And it was about then what they realized was people who were prone to depression or prone to feeling anxiety or that kind of stuff, what happened was, as you said, they frowned a lot. And what they found was them frowning a lot. They would frown before they even felt anxious. They would just frown because they kind of got into that pattern, and then the frowning would trigger the anxiousness. So it was like a reverse causality. Rather than the anxiousness would then trigger frowning, the frowning would trigger the anxiousness. And which I thought was amazing. And so you're right. But apart from anything else, I just think we dye our hair, right? We whiten our teeth. I wear, individual false eyelashes. I have cosmetic tattoos on my lips, cosmetic tattoos on my eyebrows, cosmetic eyeliner, false eyelashes. I dye my hair, and I don't get slated on social media for that, which is going to lead me into my next question, because, but yet, if I dare post up the fact that I get a few threads on my butt, or I get, some Botox or fillers, I'm like, you're selling us out. All my followers call this, all my listeners call this my wicked witch voice. Like, you're selling us out. You're selling out on us. I'll never buy a program for you, and I'll never recommend you to another person because you're. And I'm like, I actually had a girl yesterday. So let's go into the next question that I have for you. As you know, I was in getting threads done in my face, which actually has been, I think, my most favorite cosmetic procedure yet, because my cheeks are so plump. They are full in a way they never have been before. I've noticed them getting better and better and better as the collagen has been, produced over the last 6 weeks or however long it was. And I also got threads in my saggy butt cheek that day. So I have a left butt cheek that sags, as you know, because it's the saga of the saggy butt cheek. And it just hangs a little bit lower than the right one. And so what I said to you was, is there anything you can do with this butt cheek? And you were like, we can put some threads in there to stimulate some collagen. It will take a few treatments. It's not going to be like the miracle butt cure overnight, as nothing ever is. And, but let's give it a go and see what happens. I was like, great. So you put some threads in my butt, in my line to stimulate collagen. And understand as well, whenever people say threads, I think they think that you're like inserting some kind of thread and then like almost hooking it up, like you're lifting the butt cheek and hooking it onto like my spine or something. No, you're just inserting little threads into the derm underneath the skin to stimulate collagen. Isn't that right? You're not like hooking it into anything to lift it.
No. That would be great if we could.
That would be good, wouldn't I? I was like, I'm excited by that. And so I posted this on my Instagram. And of course, then I had, some woman was like, that's it. You've sold out now. I can't believe that this is what you're actually doing. Your body, this is just making it so unattainable because I could never achieve this. And I'm like, sweetheart, calm down. I 5 years I spent building my body. And 6 weeks ago, I got like 10 threads in a line under my ass. And now you're not going to ever purchase a program from me or recommend me to anybody because my body is unachievable. And I just said to her, like, you'll never have my body because you'll never be willing to work for the time that it took for me to get where I am today. But anyway, that's kind of like my little rant. But here's what I wanted to ask you. was that like, I think that, you know, and then there was a lot of other people going, I see absolutely no difference. And I was like, oh, fuck me. I had to go back and edit it twice. I was like, this is exhausting, people. Okay, let me just put this at the very top of the post. Like 6 weeks ago, I got one set of threads in one line under my butt cheek. So don't look at the whole butt, look at the line before and after. And if you look just at that line, you can see clearly the after picture, the line is softer. It's not as deep. The collagen has been produced, the butt is lifted. This is one treatment. I need a course of treatments. Here is the treatment after 6 weeks. There was millions of other people who were like, you're so wonderful. This is so transparent. I think it looks great. I would love to get this done. And then of course you get the people like, I see absolutely no difference apart from a tan on the right-hand side. I'm like, of course you don't, like, sweetheart, you're never going to see anything. So what do you like? Do you think that women are like this because like they want a society of quick fixes? Do women come to you going, Lisa, I only have £150 to spend, but I want I want to look like Kim Kardashian.
Oh God.
Do they expect miracles?
Yeah. Do you know, honestly, just to go back, I did see this and I saw and I was like, oh shit, but you do love a bit of controversy.
I do.
You know, and I have to give it to you, you know, you handle it well. But first of all, the threads that we did put in your gluteal area or your ass, as you would like to call it.
You can use all of the medical terms.
They're mono threads, so I mean they're ideal for rejuvenating skin. You did let them know that you're without adding volume or bulk to an area. They're there to encourage collagen and give a more firm, smooth skin texture compared with the threads, like for example we put in your brows, which would be their PDO, their barbed threads. They're used for lifting. So what I was thinking, what you could do is maybe have like a touch and feel session for those clients that said that there wasn't. Or those people, followers that said that there was no difference, maybe let them come and feel
session of my butt.
Yeah, and let them feel the difference in your skin. Maybe then they'll realize that it does work. But as you say, like, I mean, a few threads, it's not really going to do that. But sorry, back to the question. Just I was thinking there.
No, it was good. You don't need to go back to the question. Just have a wee ramble.
I do. To be honest, when I first started aesthetics, this was, as you say, I probably would have had an offer for 150 quid and the clients would have come in and they'd be like, I was very client-led then, rather than being treatment-led or outcome-focused. I would let the clients tell me, here's my 150 quid. I want this 1 mil split between my lips, stick a bit on my cheeks. Oh, there's a dent here in my nose as well. If there's any left over, could you put it around there or maybe put it in my jaw? And then I would do it stupidly because I was in my utility room and I didn't really know any difference. And it's such a lonely world, aesthetics. I didn't really know who to reach out to for advice. So I would have split that mill around the whole face. And then they'd be like, oh, where the fuck's the mill? I don't see a difference. And I'm like, oh God, well, you see, if you look in the mirror, can you see the difference here in the lip and then the cheek and the chin and the jaw? And they're like, but now with experience, I will do a treatment plan for every client and I will work out what they need and work on like their budget and focus on a journey. So it will be like you and me have met, I don't know how many mils we've put in. It has to be over 30, more at least, but over
3 years.
I don't know, many years, you know what I mean? So I mean, rarely do I ever have a client leave now just after one syringe, and rarely finished with me after one visit, because I do tell them now, if they come in with their 1 mil and they tell me this is where they want it, I'll have to show them the door, basically, because it's just not worth their money or my time. You know what I mean?
That does come with time and experience, though, doesn't it?
Yes.
In the beginning, I know what it's like. You do tend to give people what they want, and I think it takes a lot of courage. I actually wrote an Instagram post about this the other day saying, people, there was a thing going around one of my sculpted vegan groups and people, it was the Sculpt and Shred program, which is an 18-month program. And, a member had put a post in the group, now not complaining. And she said, I'm not hating, I'm not complaining. I'm just curious because I had a look through, the future workout programs over the next 18 months. And I realized that they don't really change very much. They're pretty much the same. Excuse me, aside from a few, I actually just burped there. I was like trying to hold it in. It's like, yeah, okay. We're not even going to edit it out because this is like a farts and burps and warts and give it the mall.
My dog's snoring beside me.
Oh, it's fine. I can't even hear him. But she, now I've completely lost my train of thought.
She said all your programs are the same.
Yes,
and they
she said all my programs are the same. And
she's a silly fucker.
Yes. And I wrote in underneath and I said, the reason why all the programs are the same, I said, look, it is a great question. I'll tell you why. And I gave her the reason why. And I said, basically the muscle responds to stimulus. And if you change your exercises too often, what you'll do is you're not confusing your muscle. You can't confuse your body. Your body is the most intelligent living organism that exists in the world. You're not going to confuse it by going to a leg press instead of a squat. It doesn't work that way. What your body responds to is stimulus. And so what you want to do is keep your exercises the same so you can keep adding load, because adding load is the fastest way to build more muscle. And that is my goal for you. You've hired me to transform your body, and I know how to transform your body. So just trust the process. And then, what I said in it was, people come to me and they say this all the time. And I say, it takes a lot of guts, not guts as a trainer, but it takes a lot of confidence as a trainer to say, you've come to me with an issue and you want me to solve your issue. And I know how to solve your issue better than you. And it takes a lot of confidence to not give the client what they want, but to give them what they need. And then to be able to say, if this isn't if you don't like the way I do things, feel free to find another trainer. You should find someone that you enjoy working with and is giving you what you want. But I'm not here to give you what you want. I'm here to give you what you need or what you say you want, which is a shit hot body. And if I do it your way, you're going to continue to have the body that you have that you're not comfortable with or you're not happy with. But if we do it my way, you're going to have the body that you want, because I know how to get you there. And I think it's the same with a treatment plan or whatever. You look at people's faces and you can see, and it's terrible. I say to people now, we were out the other week and I said to Ryan, oh, that girl was so pretty, wasn't she? It was someone we met. And he goes, yeah, she was lovely. And I was like, and he said, she had beautiful eyes. I said, but she could have done with a bit of Botox. I was like, that's terrible. You should say that. And I was like, I said, oh, that girl's so lovely, but she needs a wee bit of lip filler. I was like, Kim, you're awful. But I tend to look at people now and think, oh, they need a wee bit of lip filler. Your wee lines can be taken away. Need a visit to face therapy, and but truly they don't. If they're happy with their face, I would never, it's not up to me to judge. But no. I can look at people and see how they can improve, which I absolutely love. I'm so loving this conversation, although I'm doing most of the talking. I'm sorry. I just love talking to you so much. Okay, I've got another really good question for you. And I know I sent you these in advance, so hopefully you've had time to think about this, but I would love to know, this is one of my favorite questions to ask people. What is the one thing you wish you had known when you began your career?
This is actually the one question if you sent it to me. I was like, what would I say to this? And literally it is just like one sentence answer, and it was to realize how good I am and to know my worth, and to go back whenever those clients come and complain, or you see a bad message or a comment on Facebook on one of your treatments, just ignore it and fuck them basically, because I just know my worth.
I'm going to read you a quote which I posted on my Instagram the other day. You probably didn't see it, but I'm going to read it to you, but you're going to absolutely love it. Let me just pull it up here. Here it is here. It's a Mark Manson quote. He wrote the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. And it says, you're going to love this because this is you. The rare people who do become truly exceptional at something do so not because they believe they're exceptional. On the contrary, they become amazing because they're obsessed with improvement. And that obsession with improvement stems from an unerring belief that they are, in fact, not that great at all.
Wow.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
And I thought about you whenever I read it, because you and I are so similar. Like, I see so much of myself in you, or so much of you and me. We're perfectionists. We're obsessed with doing a really, really, really good job. And it's not about the money, and it's not about the, of course the money is a great byproduct, and I would never say it isn't, but it really is truly about giving and giving and giving and giving and helping people be better and feel better. And that is true for you as well, isn't it?
Do you know, Kim, I swear, I trained in threads at the beginning of my aesthetics career, and I didn't offer it. And then I went again last year. I did another course in threads, and the courses aren't cheap. They're quite a good bit of money, a couple of months' wage for some people. And I did another course, and then I thought, no, I want to be better. And so instead, I did another course and another course. I don't know how much I've spent on courses, but I continually push myself to do more courses. And Jerry goes, "But Lisa, you spent enough on training. Do you not want to try and make some money back now and treat some clients?" I'm like, "No, but I want to be better, and I know what can be better." And I think, but that's good, because I think, the more you give, the more you'll get, and the better your service is, then you're only going to grow, I believe.
Yeah, it's the law of reciprocity, isn't it? And I think that's why you and I have always worked so well together, because I am the kind of person, I've worked with some people, before, because sometimes with you, I pay for treatments, and sometimes you gift them to me in exchange for, for Instagram posts and different things, for PR, basically, because I am your biggest champion, and I never ever work with anyone. I always said, I get asked for people to put paid stuff on my Instagram all the time, and I turn it down. I never do sponsored posts. I never do sponsored ads, because I don't believe in promoting something which I genuinely don't believe in. And you've never paid me to post anything on my Instagram. It's never worked like that. But I do believe in the law of reciprocity. And I hate it whenever before someone offered me something, it was a course of beauty treatments, whatever. And she was like, I would love to offer these to you in exchange for maybe just some posts on your Instagram. And I was like, well, this is something that I would, genuinely use and like. So yeah, let's do it. And so then she was like, oh, could you send me back a list of exactly, what you'll post and how often you'll post and who your followers are and whatever. And like, she was offering me a course of treatments, which to her, the actual cost to her was practically nothing, because it was machines that she already had. So she wasn't even outlaying any product or anything. And I think the total cost of what she was offering me was maybe £500. And she literally wanted my soul. And I was like, no, I don't, that's not how I work. I said, let me tell you, if I love what you do, I will promote the hell out of you. Yeah. You have to understand, I'm that kind of person. I am naturally give a lot. And so whenever I met you, I was like, you and I were so the same. You were just like, yeah, no, just let me do this. No, just put that on your Instagram. Just do whatever. But I was like, fuck, I love this girl, because it makes me, then I want to do more and promote more. And you just let me do it the way I do it, rather than going, where's your post this month? Or did you not post this? And we haven't seen a post from you on this yet, Kim. That would just make me go, fuck you, Yeah. Whereas if you're like, the way with the relationship we have, I think it works really well. And I love that about you. I truly do. And I think that's why you're so popular and so successful, because people do love who you are and what you stand for, not just not just that you're ultra talented, which you are, but you're also just a really nice person.
Thank you. I want to make hug right now.
I know, you're not allowed to hug because of lockdown.
But we are so grateful for you. We do. We love you.
I know. Well, we love you too. So, and all my followers love you as well. And they all go, I wish that I could live where Lisa is. Are there any comments?
It is funny though. It is funny though, sorry, whenever some of your followers who I love will send me a message and say, I'm in America, I'm thinking of coming over. When can you do a consultation? And I'm like, well, what time is it there? They're like 3 a.m. I'm like, sorry, no, I'll find someone in America. It's brilliant though. I love it. It's just like, wow, global recognition.
Yeah, I have had people say to me, Kim, I'm literally going to fly over and get like a 7-point facelift with Lisa. Would you be able to recommend like a hotel I could stay in the area? And it's because they've seen the work that I see videos of myself, Lisa. I saw a video of myself from, it just popped up on my Instagram from about 2 years ago, whenever I was prepping and I was on the Stairmaster making a video, and I went, Ryan, look at my face. And I looked so much older. I look so much better now than I did years ago. I'm literally aging backwards. It's amazing. But here, what I would love to know is, like, are there common myths, or, is there like myths and stuff about your profession or your field that you would love to debunk? Like, is there something that, you hear all the time and you're like, I swear to God, if I fucking hear that one more time, I'm gonna scream.
Oh my God. Do you know, whenever you told me actually you were going to ask me this, and I had planned on doing like an Instagram post about this over the next few days anyway, because it's the fact that people say that their Botox can last longer than 3 or 4 months. Like I've had my fair share of clients who come in and they're like, oh, well, the doctor I used to go to, I would have got like 6 months out of my Botox. And I'm like, really? Would you give me his number? Because I need to go and get my Botox done. So they would let me in, because honestly, it's, I don't want to bore you with the science, but basically,
no, bore us with the Botox, science. We love it.
Botox it's an anaerobic bacteria, and it's found in soil, but it's been purified for clinical and cosmetic use. So basically, when we inject it into the muscle or in the skin, it works by inhibiting the release of acetylcholine. Acetylcholine is it's the chemical used for muscle contraction. So basically, it stops the release of the muscles contracting. So they're not like paralyzed; they're just kind of like asleep for a while. So you usually will notice about whenever you get your treatment done, after about week 3 or week 4, week 5, week 6, your Botox looks amazing. That's whenever the Botox is at its peak. Okay, there's no muscle activity there whatsoever. But after about week 6, we will start to sprout these little receptors that will start to slowly release acetylcholine again. And then hence you'll start to get like a natural movement of the muscle. And basically that's whenever effectively the Botox probably will start to wear off. And then by about week 12 to 14, the Botox will be completely gone. And that is scientific research. That's science. I mean, these people who tell me, you know, oh, my doctor's Botox lasts 6 months. And I'm like, well, fucking go back to your doctor, because
why are you here?
Using magic. That is magic. I don't know where, honestly, I mean, it just, that's the one thing just pisses me off, because then when people message and they're like, well, you know, it's 9 weeks now and you look, I'm able to move. And I'm like, I know, isn't that brilliant? Because that's good that you've got receptors that are starting to sprout and release acetylcholine, you know.
Isn't that great that your body's working and doing what it should be doing? Yeah. So I think the problem is that people are like, they just have such high expectations. It's what we were talking about earlier. They come in, they're like, I want 1 mil and I want you to put it in 5 different places. And then they're like, where did my mil go? Well, a mil is a fifth of a teaspoon, isn't it? It's like, it's tiny.
I mean, anyone who gives their child a teaspoon of medicine will know that it's literally a fifth of that. It's tiny. And you're lucky to even get a lip enhancement with a mil. But as you say, people just think you're a miracle worker. But it's probably because there's so many like little pop-up clinics now that there's so many it's so unregulated as well. You know, there's so many people who are doing it and they're ordering this stuff from God knows where, and they're able to offer it for dirt cheap because it's not FDA approved, and it's not, I suppose we'll not get into that.
Made in China? No, I would love to know that. I was going to say, let's talk about that for a second. Like, is that something that, you know, this is a no holds barred podcast. You can really say anything. And if it does piss you off, I would 100% say it, because if people are buying, you know, made in China Botox, or whatever it is, and then they're injecting it into people, like, it's just downright dangerous to start with, because you don't know what the hell they're putting in. Did you know, I have a friend, in America who recently found out that she had silicone injected into her lips. She couldn't understand why her lips they're like in 2 lumps on either side, you know, and she went to get them to try and get it removed or dissolved or whatever. And she couldn't figure out why her lips were always so bad. And then she went on Instagram having a rant going, this is why you should always go to a registered practitioner, someone who knows what they're doing. Whenever she was in her early 20s in America, she had silicone like injected into her lips, and she was like, I don't know what the hell I'm going to do. Like, the only way to actually get out is to surgically remove it, you know. Said we can't do anything with your lips. So I do think it is really important to make sure the person you're seeing is regulated.
I think big changes will come soon, hopefully, but I mean, it's just the fact that there is people who have done a 1-day course and they've never had no background in medical at all, you know, and they're able to offer this, I suppose, because they don't have to worry about a registration or losing a GMC registration or losing a nursing registration or being accountable, because they won't have insurance to cover it either, you know. So I think they don't really care. It's just shitty whenever you have people complaining, you know, well, you're much more expensive. But at the end of the day, you get what you pay for, and you don't really want clients like that anyway. Sure, you don't.
No, you definitely don't. And Lisa, what is the worst horror story you've ever seen? Like, I know you've seen some really, really badly filled lips, which I've seen, because people come to you and you dissolve them, don't you? And then correct them.
Worst horror story. God, well, do you know, I had just before lockdown there, actually, I had a girl who, funny enough, she came to me whenever I worked in my garage. So I moved from the utility room, so I was a wee bit more experienced. I was in the garage and I did treat her before. And then she hadn't heard from her in years then. And then she messaged me and sent photographs to say, look what's happened. A friend of mine has just put 2.5 mils in my lips. And literally this was like 2 months ago. And she said, please, can you help me? And I mean, it was horrendous, absolutely horrendous. And she told me the name of the filler, which is not FDA approved. It's not a filler it's not a reputable brand, you know, it doesn't have clinical data behind it. So I don't even know if it would be safe. So we did take her up to the clinic and we did dissolve them. They were absolutely horrendous. Dear lover, she was in so much pain. We did dissolve them, and she was like, you know, I'll be back to you next time, and you know, I'll be up to see you with a thank you card. We still haven't seen or heard from her, like, But
No, thank you for coming.
yeah.
Who was
So
it?
I'm
Filter
sure she
Lips?
probably
Was it
will.
like someone on a? Was it like a? Was it like a pop up stall on a street corner, St. George's Market or something?
I think her background was in beauty, I think, but not. She's not a nurse or not a doctor, not a dentist. So I think she did a. But she was able to. So whenever I had asked her, could she get her lips dissolved by the practitioner that did it? She said no, because obviously the stuff that we would use to dissolve filler, it's a prescription only medicine. See, filler isn't a drug; it's a medical device. So basically, you can go on the internet and buy filler. You know, you could go on it and buy it yourself, and if you're happy enough to put it in, you can fire away. But the girl who did this wasn't able to dissolve them because it was a prescription only medicine. She needed to dissolve them. So, sorry, my dog's going to start scratching.
Don't worry, it's fine. That's so funny. We're nearly done anyway. Oh my God, I have so much more to chat to you, because you know what? You and I, we only ever really get to chat whenever I'm in seeing you and we're doing work, and we never really get to actually sit and have a proper conversation. So I think I should interview you for the podcast every week, just so I can.
Sounds good. Yeah, because it's just whenever you come in for treatment, there's so much we have to fucking do.
I know
that we don't have time, and there's usually a queue outside, so we're like, Kim, don't talk.
I know. I know. And then you're asking me questions. I'm going to talk. You're like, no, don't talk. I'm just going to put this injection in. Lisa, okay, but before we go into like kind of where people can find you and that online, like before we finish, because this has been so wonderful, this interview, if you could step into my shoes, what would you have asked yourself that I didn't? Like, what question would you love for someone to ask you so you can get that information out into the world, like on a podcast, or just that people can hear?
Well, I suppose it's not really too exciting, but I suppose for people who have never had aesthetic treatments, probably like, what would be your go-to treatment? What should you, when a client comes in, what would you look at and think they need first? And for me, it's always my first treatment to cheeks, because when we age, we lose that triangle of youth. You know, a female face should be the beautiful heart shape that you have now, you know, gorgeous widened cheekbones and coming down into the nice heart-shaped chin. But as we age, we lose volume in the cheeks, we become wider in the jawline, and it kind of is almost like the inversion of that triangle. So we kind of, you know, we want to restore that, and by adding cheek filler just subtly over zygomatic, you can do that. And for me, yeah, definitely adding cheek filler. Yeah, reversing that.
Yeah, cheek filler really has been a game changer for me, because people say to me, have you ever had any work done? They go, I didn't know you had work done. Like, that's the whole point of getting work done. You're not supposed to look like you've had work done. Yeah. You're just supposed to look really good for your age. And I tell people, you know, I've got cheek filler, temple filler, chin filler. You completely changed the shape of my chin. I have fox eyes. I have Botox in my masseters, in my frown lines, in my eyes. I think we've kind of put them in my wee bit of Botox in my bunny lines before. I have my lips filled. I think I've got my Marie Antoinette lines done. My what do you call these other ones? Your nasal labial folds. Yeah. I've had like literally over 3 years. I've had my entire face reshaped, but it's taken time. Like, it wasn't like one session, you know, where I came out looking. It's not like a facelift. I think that, you know, and that was always my fear before I started getting work done, was I'm going to go in and I'm going to come out looking like Joan Rivers, and it was never going to be that way. You know, what I got done was my cheeks first of all, and that was enormous for me. Like, I remember looking in the mirror afterwards once the swelling went down, because I came home, for those of you who don't know the story, and I was like, Lisa, oh my God, because I thought I would get away with not telling my husband. And of course, like, your cheeks swell after you've had cheek filler, and not just for a couple of days, but they do swell a bit. And I was like, Lisa, I look like Cruella de Vil. I was like, oh my God. And my cheeks were like, so like, oh my God. I thought they were going to have these big razor sharp cheekbones for weeks. Of course it didn't. They settled beautifully. And
the day after,
yeah.
You were like, fuck. You actually said to me, I can see now why people fall in love with their doctors.
Yes, it's true.
That was our first meeting. I was like, she is easy. Like, one meeting.
And she's mine. I will never cheat on you again, Lisa. I promise you.
You know better.
I know, Lisa. Where can my listeners go? And this also goes on YouTube. So where can they find you? On Instagram, online? How can they book a consultation with you if they're in Belfast? You do online consultations. across the world or anything. If you don't, you should, by the way, you should do paid online consultations and do like a treatment plan for someone. Even if you can't perform the treatment plan, that is something you could definitely offer.
That is
to
an
America.
awesome idea, actually. And I can signpost them to colleagues in America who use the same kind of training through Allergan and using the same kind of techniques and filler. That's such a good idea.
Do you know what else as well? Look at us, like having business ideas on the podcast here. Do you know why this is actually a really awesome idea too? Because I know for me, going into a clinic to have a treatment plan done. For me, once I've walked in the door, it's like I've already made the step. And if in the beginning, I would have been nervous about that because I would have thought, she's going to try and talk me into something. I'm going to, feel like I have to say yes. I'm going to feel like I have to sign on the dotted line and get the cheeks done. Whereas if you did a consultation with someone in America and you were just like, let me look at you, let me see your face or whatever, and let me advise, tell me what your problems are, what you would like to change, what you like to keep. If you were to do an online consultation with someone, there would be no obligation for them to do anything with it, but they would have a better understanding of what they could possibly achieve moving forward. I think we should discuss this idea.
I think that's such a good idea. I mean, we do that currently for our clients here that are going to come see me. And we only started those during lockdown, but across the water ones is such a good idea.
Well, especially because all my followers want you anyway. So, we can.
So it's $7,000 for a half an hour consultation.
I thought reduced from $10,000.
We offer finance. We offer time.
I love it. Where can they find you online? Tell us about it.
So you can book an appointment on our website, and it's just facetherapyni.com. On our Instagram, again, facetherapyni, and Facebook. And usually, they find me plastered all over your Instagram, causing controversy probably. So either of those platforms.
Yeah, and we will link to those in the show notes. So it's Face Therapy NI as in for Northern Ireland, because all my American followers always go, what's the NI for? I'm like, Northern Ireland. And they're like, oh, right.
Hopefully it will be Face Therapy USA one day.
Face Therapy USA and Face Therapy Canada, Face Therapy Australia. Yep. Awesome. I agree. And so, yes, Face Therapy NI, go to Lisa's Instagram, definitely give her a follow. Lisa's Instagram is amazing. Shows so many before and after transformations of celebrities and also of your clients. To really show what is possible. I love following your Instagram. I have to say, you get it's fantastic to really see what is possible. And also, if you do want to book a consultation with Lisa, she and I will definitely talk about possibly setting that up. But you can shoot Lisa a message through Instagram. Is that the best way to ask you a question? Through Instagram?
Yeah, definitely. We get back to Instagram quicker than we will. But email is fine as well on the website. But Instagram first.
So email through the website or Instagram to ask. And if you did want to have a no obligation consultation with Lisa, that is something that obviously she's now going to set up on the back of this conversation. And Lisa, can I just say from, for me, thank you so much for, it's amazing. I would do anything for you business wise or any advice or anything you ever need. I would be totally there for you, because truly what you've done for me in terms of, and I know it is your job in inverted commas, but you do it so damn well and with so much love and with so much care. But, I truly have to say, I look in the mirror every day and I love, how I'm aging. I don't look at any point and go, oh, I'm not happy with this, not happy with this. I just look and go, look how plump my cheekbones are. Look at my lovely full lips. Look at my beautiful fox eyes. I just think I look better and better. I sound like a total narcissist.
You so do. No, oh my God, that's so lovely.
I just
I'm gonna cry.
But I do.
It's lovely.
I do. You. I just feel, honestly, and I think that's why, you just feel it's like a doctor who who saves you or who cures you of cancer. You're like forever in love with that person, and and it is so true. So anyway, thank you from me. You really have changed. You really have changed my life, I have to say. And I'm really pleased that you came on the podcast and we finally made this work. And I got to introduce you publicly to everybody outside of Instagram.
Thank you so much. You truly have enriched my life too.
Oh, look at us. We're all fangirling all over each other.
I love you.
I love you too. Right, Lisa Waring, you have been absolutely and utterly awesome. I won't keep you away from your lovely wife and daughter any longer. But thanks so much. And I'll come and see you as soon as lockdown's over, and we'll do another treatment plan, hopefully.
Thank you.
Okay, bye, Lisa.
Bye.
So there you have it. Lisa and I have now just come up with a whole new business idea. And actually, that is something that Lisa will put in place. So if it is something you're interested in, if you are in another part of the world, you're not here in Northern Ireland, you're interested in cosmetic procedures, and you do want to get a completely unbiased opinion, someone who isn't going to try and sell you a treatment or, get you in for filler or sell you something that you don't need, which Lisa would never, ever do anyway. And I hope that no good cosmetic practitioner would ever do. Then, go to connect with Lisa on Instagram. It's at Face Therapy NI. Send her a DM. If you want to do a consultation, she will do a consultation with you no matter where you are in the world. She will do some skin mapping. She'll look at, exactly what she believes that you would need. I think it'll be over Zoom or Skype or whatever. Look at me setting up this whole business for her. And we haven't even agreed on anything, but I do know that Lisa is the kind of woman who will take life by the balls and just run with it. So if you do want to have a chat with Lisa, definitely message her. I'm sure she can set that up. And if you don't want to have a consultation, do follow her on Instagram at Face Therapy NI. Her Instagram is absolutely wonderful. And and if you ever come to Northern Ireland, then you can come and see me. We'll have a coffee and you can go to Lisa for some facial work. And, then you can leave looking younger than when you arrived. And ain't that just the holy grail? Okay, guys, hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I enjoyed recording it. And all that's left for me to say is have a wonderful rest of the week wherever you are. Thank you so much for listening. And I will catch you next week for another episode of the Kim Constable podcast. Take care and bye for now.